Let's see here. We're going live. Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Brie Hartman. I've been wanting to introduce myself and then also kind of talk to you why I'm starting this group. So welcome to the Self-Storage Off-Market Deal Vault. I am so excited. So this has been an idea in the back of my brain for like a year and a half. And you know how you talk about it every New Year's that you're going to do something. And the reason why I wanted to start this group is because I'm so passionate about helping first-time self-storage buyers buy their very first storage facility, in addition to getting really good at a skill set. And I think a lot of people talk about this where sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and understanding like how to get good at finding self-storage deals, you can actually carve out a little piece of the pie and become a self-storage owner faster and 10x your portfolio. So I'm very passionate about this and have been wanting to start this for quite some time in order to not only have a group where we can share deals. My VA is actually pulling deals from different pipelines and sharing them in the group. I want to share all the different kind of new current events that's going on in the self-storage industry. And then also just kind of open up these really important topics about becoming a CEO in the self-storage industry, becoming an operator, an owner, how to scale your portfolio, how to, just become bigger in this industry, knowing what you just don't know. So one of my things is I will introduce myself for people that do not know me. I am Brie Hartman. I'm located here in Sacramento, California. And I always joke that I never thought I would become a self-storage owner and operator. And now I absolutely love this asset class. So I had one accidental rental in 2021, so about 4 years ago when I was pregnant. And that led me to kind of thinking bigger. So with this one accidental rental, you have this idea of, wow, okay, I can rent out a property and I can make $400 a month. And that is my pathway, right, to financial success. And little did I know, being in California, that becoming a landlord, there is leaky toilets, there is mildew, black mold, service dogs, all the things that compound with that. And like my freedom number, if you reverse engineer yourself to what you want to make, I would have to own like 20 homes or something like that in California, which is another job. And so this led me to looking like what else is out there? What other passive income, what other business can I own that I can scale in your mid 30s, right? And so I'm so blessed that I found self-storage in this industry. And from that game point there, it was okay. My one thing, Gary Keller says, what is your one thing that you're going to double down and do for that year? And while I was pregnant, I was training people in a gym. And at nighttime, I was teaching and learning from all the free webinars about like, how do you actually find a storage facility? How do you become an owner and an operator and then build a portfolio from out of state? And so I actually landed my very first storage facility 6 weeks before giving birth in Louisiana. Out of all the places, you just never know where you're going to buy your facility. And when it pencils, it works. You double down and you do it. And so from there, it just has expanded. And I'm just so grateful, to have found this industry and then to continue to serve and help. And my key piece is there's a lot of, I think, self-storage unknowns that we go into. And I want to help you guys like go through the myths, the facts of what are these unknowns, and like give you meat and potatoes, because theory and philosophy is good. Like it sounds good, but I want to actually do some like real deep dives and like case studies and how do you find deals and like what are the industry secrets that people aren't talking about. So that is kind of some big pieces that we're going to do every single week here in this group. And I am so thrilled to not only get to meet new people, but to share deals, explore partnerships, and help each other take these down in this industry and build a portfolio so that you can not only have like financial freedom, you can have time freedom, and then living with life options is the whole goal. My baby girl is, I call her the storage baby, because she was my whole point of being like, I can't own a gym anymore. Like I am not going to wait. I do not want to work 60 hours a week. I do not want to wake up at 5 a.m. and work all the way till 8 p.m. and not have a family life. And so that really is that moment for me. And I hope that resonates with you guys, is that if I can do it from one accidental rental about 3.5 years ago to getting into self-storage. Now we own over 100,000 square feet of storage. We have 3 facilities, Louisiana. We have a facility under contract in Arizona. We just wholesaled a 55,000 square foot facility in South Carolina. There is just so many different avenues that you can use in order to not only prosper in this industry, but to take yourself to the next level. Those are the just key points that I want to talk about, I think, in this group. And I think a lot of things that keep people small or they keep talking about. Like, I talk to people all day long at conferences and in the DMs and social media that they want to get into storage, but they never start. And you hear people, oh yeah, I've been wanting to get in that business for like 5 years and they haven't done anything. And the two things that I think that really play into this, because I know I was there in the beginning too, and that can keep you small and not taking those next steps, is I don't know where to start, which is it keeps you in analysis paralysis and it keeps you going in that circle. And then the second thing is the biggest excuse I see is I don't have enough money to buy a storage facility. And so therefore I can't. And they stop straight in their tracks. And so I always say, it's if you can build a skill set, which is finding deals, which is all about what this Facebook group is about. If you can get really good at finding deals, you can find people such as James Maines. And I know I see Jonathan. You can literally find those deals, go to James, go to myself and say, hey, do you want to explore partnership? Do you want to take this deal down together because you're an experienced operator? And that's how you can carve out a little piece of that pie. Another thing I always like to talk about is I bought a $400,000 house right across the street, which I always tell myself, why did I buy another house? Which will only cash flow, you guys, $400 a month. But I just bought another facility in Louisiana that was $500,000 seller financing, and that is going to cash flow around like $3,200 a month. So 10x, right? So I'd rather own a storage facility versus a residential house. And then the fun part of this, the facility that we bought for $500,000, we're going to sell in 2025 as spring for 1.1 million at a 7.5 cap. So you can 2x your income with self storage, because not only, you guys, is it a business, it is a commercial real estate asset. So you can really milk both of those. So that is something that I'm very passionate about. And we are going to be talking all about like deal finding, like what are these industry secrets? How do we get off market deals? What am I doing right now to negotiate some of the seller financing deals in this off market? And I just want to, I want to answer any of your guys' questions. We will be doing these lives every Monday and Thursday at 11 a.m. PST time. And so if you can make it, great. Love to get like any of your questions. I will answer them here live. If you can't, this will be like, you can watch the replay and I will try to get back to you guys with those questions. But my goal is to inspire you guys to take action. Like if you take one nugget away, don't just like think about it. I want you to take massive action. Go put spaghetti on the wall. I would say go mess it up and then bring your questions back and then like, let's solve it together. That's how my MO, and that's how I think a lot of people 10x their results really fast, which I know James Maines has done multiple times, is go mess it up, like go take tons of action and find someone that is experienced and has done it before you to, help you take that next step. Don't be in the like all the way at V before you take step B, right? So those are some of my like absolutely favorite kind of talking points. So we are working on right now, we have a facility under contract in Arizona that has 300 RV and boat spots. Super excited about that one. We will be doing a development, so probably adding another 20,000 square feet, and a couple other areas that have been really, going well is we've got one in North Carolina that we're going to be putting under contract soon. But a lot of these owners are open to seller financing, and they have seen, I think just from 2024 elections, now we're in 2025. There's more opportunity. People are like, yep, okay, this might be the best time to sell. And so a lot of owners, if you ask them, like my favorite thing when I talk to owners off market is, it's not, will you sell? It's more, hey, Joe, I saw your facility at XYZ and I really liked the green doors. I just wanted to ask you, I know this might be out of the blue, but I wanted to see, would you ever consider an offer on your facility? And we want people just to raise their hand and say yes, right? And that's when we get to show them, okay, what is their facility worth? And then in our brains, what could it be worth? Is it in a good market? And then what is an offer, right, that you can give them? And so that is something that I love to kind of talk about. Would they consider? And a lot of owners want to hear what the value of their facility is. And so they are open to giving you, their gross monthly income, their annual income, and their unit mix. And then you can use those two key pieces of information to reverse engineer to understand what is that facility actually worth. And you can give them that verbal offer and then play the dance, right? That's the negotiation dance, which we'll talk about too. which is a lot of fun. I love negotiation. It's so great. And a lot of people, I think this is a skill set, especially in 2025, right? We're setting goals. If you can become really good at skill sets, this is where you just compound yourself every single year, getting better and better and better. And I think people undervalue negotiation. So negotiation is my skill set that I'm like every year I want to get better and better at. And then number two, like how can you develop either sales or how can you actually create content, right? Or how can you create something in this world that adds value to someone else? And in business, if you're a good business savvy person, a business, all what they do is solve problems for someone who will pay for it, right? And that is the whole wonderful thing as entrepreneurs is like we are constantly solving problems, coming up with solutions, creative solutions that will fix someone's issue. We had the person in Arizona who is looking to sell, no website, literally cash box, drool worthy. They have like an awful sign that they have painted, it's just one of those facilities that you're just like, how did you survive 2020 with no website? And you're doing well. Like they are 100% maxed out on their units in their space, and they are not maximizing the ability to go get increased prices. They're not maximizing the actual great use of the area. So they have RV, I'm not joking, RV parking for $40 when the next door neighbor has it for $80, and they're 100% full. And so this owner brags, right? The owner brags saying, hey, I'm 100% full. I've got the best place in town. And little do they know they're leaving a lot of money on the table because their next door neighbor is getting $80 and they're also 100% capacity with a wait list. So this is a wonderful value add facility that I'm excited about because not only can we day one, we can increase prices to like probably 75, just trailing the neighbor. That's not doing anything. Like we're not giving it a facelift. We're not putting a ton of capital expenditures in except for putting a tech stack, which is just a fancy word for a website software that people can actually do payments on. And we will be inputting tenant protection plans and what else? A new sign and new gravel, right? So minimal lift, very much an operational pull to get them from a cash box to payments, subscription payments on a website. I just wanted to kind of open this up. First time doing a Facebook Live. I love it. And just wanted to see how this works. And I'm really excited to kind of just give more value every single time we talk. It'll be about 15 minutes and I'm going to be like down and dirty, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's working in the market. Have you checked out this new industry secret? And these are the facilities and the owners that we're talking to right now. And this is what's working. And then also the lessons that I learned, because I think the best part is as a business owner and entrepreneur, if you want to scale fast, obviously don't do it alone, explore partnerships. Number two, though, is like how many times you need to fail or learn a skill set. And that by learning a skill set and failing, and you're like, now I understand how this works. So I get to share with you guys all the things that I have learned, maybe the hard way that you guys get to learn from and not do the second time, right? So I know said Jonathan had a question. So you like your properties being at like 90% occupancy to allow for walk-ins, which will keep prices topped off. Yes. So yes, absolutely. So when you're 100% full, you have no product to sell and you never want to be at 100%. You want to be at that, like right now, 80, it's like 80, 88 to like 90% is nice. That's where you're okay. Hey, if you're at 100, you can keep raising those prices. You want to have a product to sell. And then what's really great, what I love about storage is that we have dynamic pricing, which is a fancy word, which means that when we hit like 85, 86% occupancy, prices go up. So the supply and demand index, now it used to be maybe an $80 for a 10 by 10. Now when we're hit 86% occupancy, now it's going to jump up to 85, right? And then as we creep up, the prices will start to increase because we want to get people in at the higher price, right? So I don't know if that explained that, Jonathan, but that's a really good question. Like we never want to be 100% occupied because we have no product to sell, which means that you are leaving money on the table and your prices are too low. And so that is something that we always like to look at. And as an operator and owner, you play with that in your market because a lot of times, like your next door neighbor, like your weakest link is the person that is unsophisticated, the self-storage owner, sadly, that has those really low prices, and that can hurt you. So we always are trying to help each other as operators. And I think that's what's so unique in self-storage is that, we're talking with our neighbor owners and we're saying, hey, like, where are you at? Are you seeing occupancy? Where's your 10 by 10? And so I think that is really important, is having those conversations. And then it's kind of like an art. You get to figure out the supply and demand index and what feels good to you so that you're constantly making more money every single, quarter, and you're increasing it and seeing what the market can hold or withstand. So Jonathan said, I never thought of the incremental price increases at different occupancy levels. I know, right? And then what's also really cool is if you are a drive up non-climate controlled facility, if you want, we don't do this at our facilities, but it's actually kind of cool. Like if you have units that are easier accessible to like back in, sometimes people charge those more, like they have a higher price for those. If you have climate controlled, like a 2-story building, like the ones on the first floor would be easier to access. So those would actually be more, pricey than the ones on the second level. You can do anything that you really want. So that's something just to keep in mind, is it's fun because instead of, I would say, long-term residential leases that, go for a whole year, people sign for a whole year, storage, it's every single month. And so owners and operators get to look at that supply and demand. They get to look at the market and see what it can stand. And then what we like to do is we call it a 7-Eleven, like a 7-Eleven market. And sometimes at month 7, we will increase 5 to 6%. And then at month 11, we're going to increase another 5 to 6% if the market can bear. So you're constantly increasing your prices based on what it can bear each year. So your net operating income is always increasing, which then increases the purchase price of your facility and what it's worth. And that's the true magic in self-storage, is we get to constantly increase the price and what it's worth, in addition to the value of it by, adding new technology. I love to James Maines, I know he's in here talking about AI. Like, how are we using AI in self-storage to reduce expenses as a business owner? And I'll have to do a whole topic on this. I know I'm past my 15 minutes, but it's called Swivel, and we're going to be using that to test it. So we have our call center takes calls from 8 to 5, and then we have AI come in afterwards, and we have an automatic bot that knows all our frequently asked questions and can actually have different voices. So we're going to be testing this in our market to see how people like it. It reduces question. It answers within 2 minutes or less. And so there's going to be a lot of implementation of technology with AI in order to build customer satisfaction, in order to answer calls faster. And then as a business owner, we are always looking at 2 things. Number 1, how can I, add value to my facility, increase prices? And then number 2, how can I reduce expenses, right? And so AI will help us reduce expenses, because now we can actually take maybe the call center down a couple of hours, or completely. Some facilities I know have completely, taken out their call center, which was maybe $23,000 a year, and have now put in AI into doing their calls and streamlining their service. I still think customer service is important, and that is what sets you up for success as an operator, because if you are a good operator, you are double down with your customers, you're in tune with them. So there will sure be a happy medium, and that's something that we are exploring right now. And I'd love to hear from other owners and operators how they are using AI in this industry and how they're taking advantage of it now. So I hope you guys are having a great Friday, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will be back Monday. We're going to actually talk about finding deals in the workshop. And so I am finding deals from different pipelines, and we're putting them in here. And so if you guys like anything or want to have any other questions, please drop them below, and I will answer them on Monday at 11 a.m. Have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you soon.